All right. So, everyone, thank you for joining me in the Healthcare Supply Chain Hub. This is our 30-minute weekly learnings, and we're calling them Learning Bytes. These are every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon. So, thank you guys so much for joining me. I see a whole bunch of you guys out there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's so good to see everyone. And I will just keep admitting people in as we move along. So here we're going to get going. I am recording these so that if you guys want to rewatch it, or if you guys want to take snippets of it and share it with your team, you're more than welcome to, since these are free and we want to make sure we are training as many people as possible in the hub. So here we go. All right, and we only have 30 minutes, so let's jump in. I am sharing with you guys today the top 5 ways to optimize procure-to-pay, so P2P, as you guys have heard it in the industry. Some of you guys may not be in procurement or strategic sourcing or contracting, so just in case you haven't heard it, I'm even going to go in and explain the definition. But what we really want to do here is we want to save money, reduce errors, and streamline our workflow in 30 minutes. So that is my goal. That's what we're doing here today. And for those of you that don't know me really well, I know I do see a bunch of you guys that I do know on the call, but if you don't know me very well, my name is Angelique Beslick, and I am the CEO and owner and executive consultant for the Bridge Ventures. And I've created tons of different learning programs, 7 certification programs out there for healthcare supply chain. And it's so nice to meet all of you. All right, so let's move on. So, our key takeaways for our Learning Byte today are EDI and what I'm calling 5-way match. And I'm even going to give you a 6-way match that keep P2P accurate, and how to optimize our EDI codes. So 850, 855, 856, and 810. And you're probably like, what does that even mean? I'm going to explain all about that. I want to go through that suppliers can support workflow efficiencies. That's amazing. And then I want to identify bottlenecks, streamline approvals and payments, and then we want to align P2P for all of our departments. Actually, going to give you guys a little worksheet to take today to your work tomorrow and take massive, massive action tomorrow in your organization. And then I'm going to share with you guys my special 6-way match that I'm calling contract, PO, confirmation, advanced shipping notification, receipt, and invoice. That is the perfect order. And that's really what we're striving for, is that utopia. And then some benefits, just real quick here. I have found this little infographic that was pretty cool of your EDI system. Obviously, you get improved efficiency, reduced errors. I want you guys to think about the totally touchless order. You get cost savings from that. You get enhanced communication so everyone understands the status of everything. And then, of course, you get cost security that comes along with that. So that's pretty cool. All right, so let's keep moving on. So, what is Procure-to-Pay? Supply Chain 101 will say, and this is not just healthcare supply chain, it's supply chain in retail, manufacturing, also use Procure-to-Pay. It's very, very common in Supply Chain 101. And that goal is the truly touchless order. The average life cycle of a purchase order costs $50 to $150, depending on industry you work in, where you work, how many people you have touching something, how manual your processes are. And so with each step, there's an opportunity for optimization that can make your procurement more efficient and more seamless. So here's just an example out there in supply chain 101 world, not necessarily healthcare supply chain, but I'm sure you guys see this all the time in healthcare supply chain, of the procure-to-pay process. So think of, you have a request to make a purchase, and sometimes that might start with a contract. Sometimes it starts with a quote. You select your vendor, right? You're going to choose which vendor you're going to buy it from. You have your requisition. So your requester either places a requisition or your buyers can do that. Then you have your purchase order. That gets sent to your vendor or your supplier. They then send you an order confirmation. Then you receive the order physically, whether it's a service or a product. Then you get an invoice and you reconcile that. You match it up to everything to make sure that what you ordered is what you received, is what was invoiced. And that includes not only the item, the description, the unit of measure, the price, the quantity, and then accounts payable actually pays that invoice. So it's all those pieces. Some people will even say contracting is part of that. Value analysis is part of that because you're vetting vendors. There's other pieces that play a role there. And then, of course, accounts payable and then booking it to your general ledger and all those things into your budget. That could all be part of Procure-to-Pay depending on your organization. So that is what Procure-to-Pay is. So why do P2P matters? There's a lot of waste. Inefficient P2P equals lost money, wasted time, and frustrated teams. How many times have you guys gotten an email from accounts payable saying, I can't find a purchase order on this. I can't find a contract on this. What's the price of this? Lots of wasted time back and forth. Oh, you haven't received this yet. Operations team, what's happening? There's errors, right? Errors in ordering, receiving, invoicing, that slows down everything. And then optimization. Optimization benefits requesters, buyers, receivers, and accounts payable. Everybody that touches that procure-to-pay process will benefit in the optimization of it. So I really want to make sure that you guys are optimizing your procure-to-pay process. Some advantages of procure-to-pay: it enhances your purchasing process. It decreases processing costs, that 50 to 150 or even more, depending on your organization. It provides transparency. I want to have a visual of all my spend. So this provides that. It boosts the relationship with your vendor or your supplier. It gives a chance to negotiate price, right? So if you haven't done that through a contracting process, you can do it through a quote and a requisition process. It makes data reporting easy. And then it improves your productivity, of course, because everything's touchless. I'm not moving paper around anymore on my desk. And then it helps to do on-time delivery because I'm seeing statuses. I've sent a PO, a vendor sends me back a confirmation, an advanced shipping notice. I know when it's shipping. I know all of these things about the delivery as well. So those are some really good advantages of P2P. Moving on. Critical tools, EDI and 5-way match. If you go Google, they're going to talk a lot about 4-way match. I am teaching 5-way and sometimes even 6-way, because if you don't have a contract, shame on you. Everything in healthcare supply chain should be on a contract. These things are touching a patient. There's risk, there's liability. Make sure everything's on a contract. So think about suppliers and providers can build strategic partnerships here. Suppliers can run monthly optimization reports to call out inefficiencies in the EDI process, transactions, errors, and then you can collaborate and work together. And this will help enhance your relationship more strategically with suppliers. But then I want to talk about order efficiency. All right. So within that, EDI and 5-way match ensures accuracy across orders, shipments, and invoices. Technical support, it reduces payment errors, disputes, and manual corrections. Do you guys know how much time it takes an accounts payable representative to pay one invoice? Imagine they have to go find a contract, find a purchase order, make sure they're not expensing something because there is no PO. They have to go search, search, search. Then they have to make sure that it's received so that they can pay it. There's all these things that are manual touches and drive everyone crazy within the workflow. And then there's feedback systems. So it supports department-wide workflow efficiency. And that's not just procurement. but it's also operations, the receiving team. It's also accounts payable. It's also your requesters. So if they place the requisition, you then place the PO, they receive the item, and then they get the invoice because they actually have to approve and code the invoice. All these things help that work very efficiently. And I'm going to say it again, my six-way match process is having a contract, locked in negotiated price to a PO. That price was set up in Item Master. That price is locked in the system. I create a PO for it. The pricing pops up on the PO. I get a PO confirmation back from the supplier once they receive my PO. And then hopefully within minutes or within an hour, they send me an advanced shipping notification. That's the ASN. And then my team receives it on our receiving dock. We get an invoice for it. We're able to pay it so easy because all those six-way pieces of that puzzle, they all match. Imagine how amazing that is. Okay, our most common EDI codes out there. So let's go through them really fast. We've got 850, we've got our purchase order. That is sent to our vendor or supplier. 855 is our purchase order confirmation sent back to us. Then the 856 is that advanced shipping notification sent back to us from the vendor. And then the 810 is that invoice that's sent to us from the vendor. So the only thing we're actually sending to the vendor is the 850. They're sending us the 855, the 856, the 810. Does that make sense? So it's all that's just the what goes out and what gets consumed back in. And if we maximize this, it's touchless, right? Because then our EDI system like GHX or Vizient or other competitors out there doing EDI transmission, it is touchless. I'm not doing that with a fax machine or a piece of paper. Just imagine that. Okay, so tip number one for today, mastering the EDI and five-way match, right? You want to match your PO, your confirmation, your advanced shipping notification, your receipt, your invoice. And of course, if you want to do six-way match, have a contract. Reducing your errors and delays by making sure you're always maximizing your EDI five-way match with every vendor that you possibly can that reduces errors and delays. And it keeps your workflow smooth. Like I said, for requesters, buyers, receivers, accounts payable, and your suppliers, they should be happy with this workflow because they're not touching as much paper on their end either. And you're becoming super duper strategic with each other. And then if you think about match exceptions, those just create chaos. When something doesn't match, and we're going to go through those here in a minute, that creates chaos. So you want everything to match, match, match. The pricing on the PO matches the contract. The quantity matches the confirmation and the advanced shipping notice and the receipt and the invoice matches the pricing on the contract. All those things match and everything is equal. That is why I'm saying become best friends with your suppliers on EDI and go through with them as much as you need to say, hey, we need to fix all of our EDI issues. And then revisit it once a year with them if you feel like your relationship has grown and things are efficient. So thinking about possible match exception errors, and there's more than this, I'm just calling out some examples, but mismatched quantities, unit of measure errors, they're thinking pack, you're thinking each, pricing errors, especially if it doesn't match the contract, item number versus what the supplier shows. Maybe there's an A on the end of it and you forgot the A. Description errors, maybe you're calling it a gauze and they're calling it a pad. I don't know. Advanced ship notice versus the receipt. So they told you they shipped 10, but you really received 9, right? So that's a match exception. And then, of course, there's timing errors. So if they said they shipped it today, and you're supposed to get it tomorrow. That's what the advanced ship notification says, but you really receive it like 6 days later. There's obviously timing errors within that, and those are all possible match exception errors that you should be watching for. We also want to optimize our key EDI codes. So remember, we talked about 850 is your purchase order, 855 is your acknowledgement, your confirmation, 856 is your advanced shipping notice, 810 is your invoice. You want to have proper use of each and every one. So I'm actually going to show you at the end here how to do an audit, but making sure that you're looking at all pieces of that puzzle. And you know what? A receipt is not done in EDI, but you also want to take a look at that part of the process, because if your receiving team is not receiving something accurately, that could be also causing havoc. And you want to make sure that that's not causing you errors. Okay. So let's go through EDI code, the purpose and the impact real quick. So 850 is a purchase order. The impact of optimizing that is accurate ordering prevents errors and stockouts. So if your PO is what exactly your requester needs, the exact quantity, then you're going to prevent errors on your inventory management side and not have stockouts. Now, if your PO, if your requisition from the requester said 10 cases, you converted that to a PO and it says 10 eaches, and then they get it and they're like, I ordered 10 cases. You can see where errors may happen. So you want to make sure that those are optimized. And you want to work with your ERP system, whether that's Infor, Workday, or PeopleSoft, and make sure that there's no issues there in that requisition to PO. Then you've got your 855, your PO acknowledgement or confirmation. It confirms the supplier can fulfill the order. Fewer surprises. And then some suppliers use fill kill. So if they can't fill your whole order, do they kill the order, the rest of the order? You need to really know which vendors those are. Your 856, your advanced shipping notice, improves receiving accuracy and planning. And then your 810, your invoice, faster AP reconciliation, payment accuracy, but we want to get that done quickly. We don't want AP representatives just stuck sitting there trying to investigate invoices after invoice after invoice. Is very time consuming. All right, tip number 3, engage your suppliers strategically. Give suppliers access to relevant workflow info and review monthly all match exceptions together. In a virtual meeting is fine, and decide who can fix what on which side. That needs to be fixed on the supplier side, the provider side. How does it get fixed? Suppliers can proactively fix issues and confirm shipments if you work together when 856 is not working. I've had many times where 856 didn't work. I don't know why. I worked with the vendor and they said 856 usually triggers when the truck leaves the dock. That makes sense. Oh, the truck left the dock, 856 didn't get triggered. Our bad. So things like that happen, right? And then thinking about the last thing there, collaboration saves time. It reduces errors. A supplier can be a partner, not just a vendor. So you want them to be your partner, your strategic partner. Okay, sound good? Tip number 4, identify workflow bottlenecks. Map out your P2P process from requisition request to payment. Look for slow approvals, receiving errors, payment delays. Where are you having a problem? Maybe it's one certain vendor. Maybe it's one certain product line. You just never know. So you really want to make sure that you're checking and doing audits on where that's happening. And then you want to focus on automation and visibility wherever possible. Tip number 5, drive efficiencies across your departments. You've got so many people touching your P2P process. You got requesters. You want faster, accurate orders. Buyers, they want to be doing fewer corrections and have better forecasting. They don't want to be touching those POs 10 times a day, especially if they're processing 40,000 PO lines a week. Receivers, they want correct deliveries, smoother intake of those boxes that come in. And then, of course, AP, we've talked about this. They want fewer disputes. They want on-time payment. They don't want to look like anything's past due, right, in their department. So this is where I really talk about visualization of your data. If you cannot see something needs to be fixed, how do you know to fix it? You could run reports. You can have your decision support or informatics team create visual reports for all of your teams, for the buyers, for the receivers, for the AP team. And then maybe create icons for each department with little arrows showing workflow. Remember, P2P optimization affects everyone. It's not just owned by supply chain, it is organization wide, and everyone, including requesters. Maybe it's nurses who are doing some ordering themselves for their nursing unit. They all have to play a part in optimization of Procure-to-Pay. So I want you guys, as we're wrapping up here, to take massive action tomorrow. I have not just this PowerPoint I'm going to send you guys, everybody who showed up today, thank you for being here, but I'm also going to send you a checklist in a Word document. So some things that I want you guys to do: prioritize your top 10 suppliers tomorrow. I want you to run the 5-doc quick audit that's on the next slide. I want you to check your 4-way, 5-way match exception report. And if you're really savvy, the 6-way match exception report. I want you to map a mini workflow, and it's going to show on the checklist how to do that. I want you to be engaging your suppliers in your optimization starting tomorrow. I want you guys to standardize your approvals. I don't want, if someone is going to be approving a purchase order because of funding or approving an invoice because of funding, I don't want you to have bottlenecks in there. So you got to figure out where requesters or stakeholders are possibly slowing up that process. I want you to clean up your item master and your EDI codes. And I want you guys to create a cross-functional quick huddle that maybe you do either daily or once a week. And I give you on the worksheet how to do that. So real quick before we got to hang up, I want to show you guys this hot tip. This is called the 5-doc quick audit. And this takes actually 1 hour or less to complete. So this is why I just want you guys to do this and get it done. I want you to do this once a month. Pull 5 random recent POs, ideally from different suppliers. For each PO, I want you to grab the acknowledgment, the 855 confirmation, the shipping notice, the 856, and the invoice, the 810, if it's available. So you might want to pull some that are maybe a couple weeks old. Check alignment across the 4 documents, right? Your PO, your 850, your 855, your 856, your 810. Were the quantities the same? Were the dates realistic and accurate from the time it shipped to the time it was received to the time it invoiced? Were prices consistent with the contract? And then I want you guys to note any mismatches or delays, maybe in the shipping, invoice posted late, maybe AP held it up due to missing receipt, unit of measure inconsistencies, anything that we were just talking about as far as match exceptions. I want you to notice that. Highlight one bottleneck to fix right now, whether it's slow approval, missing advanced ship notification, invoice mismatch. I want you guys to highlight one thing that you're going to fix. Because if you root cause that and you fix it, at least if you fix it for that supplier, or if you fix it for that product line, or if you fix it for, let's just say, all of the POs, you just did a root cause analysis and you just made a fix. And that literally is every time you do a little fix during this audit process, you're going to better your workflow overall, and you're going to have more efficiency in your team. Now, why this audit works. It's small. It's non-intimidating because you're only doing 5 samples, right, at a time, and you're doing this once a month. And if you love it so much, do it once a week. It immediately shows if EDI is being used correctly and where gaps occur, right, in your process. It engages multiple departments, your buyers, your receivers, AP. You may even need to get your requesters involved without needing a giant process map. And then it gives you an actionable first fix by tomorrow. Like, this is stuff you could do today or tomorrow and have a result by the next day, and maybe even fix something easily by the next day. So that's why I want you guys to go do this 5 doc quick audit. All right. That's going to be part of your checklist. So next thing is, number one, thank you, all of you that came on to the call today. You are amazing. Number one, you invest in yourselves. You care about training. You love training and you want to learn more. And I'm hoping that I gave you guys massive, massive impact that you can go do tomorrow. Second of all, if you guys have any questions or you want to contact me, here down at the bottom is my email address for our healthcare supply chain hub. There's our website. You are more than welcome to go contact us. And right after this, I'm going to have the recording up on the website. So I'll show you where to go find that link. And then I will send you guys this PowerPoint, and I will send you guys the Word document with the checklist. So that's it. We made it at exactly 30 minutes. I'm Angelique Beslick. I look forward to seeing you guys next Tuesday and then again on Thursday. We do this every Tuesday and Thursday. Something massive impact. Our 30-minute learning bites. And it's good to see you guys. I hope you have a great rest of your evening. All right. Thanks, everybody.